The Power of Now explains the process of spiritual enlightenment, which is essentially the realization of one's true nature beyond the limitations of the mind and time. The author argues that the mind, trapped in a continuous cycle of past and future, creates a false sense of self, the ego, which experiences a deep sense of lack and fear. This creates pain and suffering. To break free from this cycle, the author advocates for living fully in the present moment, known as the now, which allows one to transcend the mind and its limitations. By becoming aware of the mind's constant activity, one can disidentify with it and experience a state of peace, joy, and liberation from pain and suffering. This shift in consciousness, the author asserts, is essential for individual and collective well-being. What is enlightenment, and how is it related to the mind? Enlightenment is a state of being at one with life, a state of wholeness and peace. It is a natural state of connectedness with being, the eternal and ever-present one life that lies beyond, yet within, all forms of life. This state is obscured by the mind's incessant activity. Our identification with our minds leads to a constant stream of thoughts that prevent us from experiencing the stillness and peace of being. Enlightenment, then, involves freeing ourselves from the enslavement of the mind and realizing our true nature beyond thought. How does the mind create suffering, and what is the role of time in this process? The mind creates suffering through its constant denial of the now. It seeks to cover up the present moment with past and future, leading to a preoccupation with memories and anticipation. This creates a continuous cycle of craving and aversion, leading to dissatisfaction and a sense of lack. The mind cannot function without time, which is why it perceives the timeless now as threatening. By focusing on past and future, we miss the present moment, the only place where true fulfillment and joy can be found. What is the pain body, and how does it affect our lives? The pain body is a negative energy field that accumulates in the mind and body as a result of past emotional pain. It consists of trapped life energy that has become autonomous through identification with the mind. The pain body seeks to survive by feeding on experiences that resonate with its own energy, leading to further pain and suffering. It can manifest as negative emotions, destructive behaviors, and even physical illness. How can we free ourselves from the pain body and move deeply into the now? The key to freedom from the pain body is to become conscious of it. By observing the pain body without judgment or analysis, we can disidentify from it and prevent it from controlling our thoughts and actions. To move into the now, we must become intensely conscious of the present moment. This involves withdrawing our attention from past and future whenever they are not needed for practical purposes. By focusing on the now, we can experience the peace, joy, and power that are inherent in this state of being. What is the significance of letting go of psychological time? Psychological time refers to our identification with the past and our constant projection into the future. It is the source of much of our suffering, as it keeps us trapped in a cycle of craving and aversion. By letting go of psychological time, we free ourselves from the burden of the past and the anxiety of the future. We can then experience the present moment with greater clarity and presence, allowing us to live with a sense of ease, joy, and purpose. How does the concept of dying before you die relate to enlightenment? Dying before you die means relinquishing our attachment to the false self, the ego, which is created by the mind. This ego identifies with external things such as possessions, relationships, and achievements, seeking fulfillment and security in them. However, these things are impermanent, and clinging to them only leads to suffering. By letting go of our attachment to the ego, we can realize our true nature, which is rooted in being and is beyond death. How can we find the life underneath our life situation? Our life situation exists in time and is full of challenges and problems. It is easy to become overwhelmed by these situations and lose sight of the life that flows beneath them. To find this life, we must narrow our attention to the now. By focusing on the present moment, we can connect with the stillness and peace that lie within us. This does not mean ignoring our problems, but rather approaching them with a clear and present mind, free from the burden of psychological time. What is the role of joy, ease, and lightness in our journey towards enlightenment? The presence of joy, ease, and lightness in our actions is a sign that we are aligned with the present moment. When these qualities are absent, it indicates that we are trapped in psychological time and our actions are driven by fear, anxiety, or dissatisfaction. By cultivating presence and focusing on the now, we can infuse our lives with these positive qualities, making our journey towards enlightenment a more joyful and fulfilling experience. What is the core delusion that prevents us from experiencing the present moment? The core delusion is the loss of now. which is the belief that our happiness and fulfillment lie in the past or the future. This delusion causes us to resist the present moment, leading to suffering and a disconnect from our true being. We become preoccupied with past regrets, future worries, and the constant pursuit of external goals, missing the fullness of life that exists only in the present. What are the different levels of unconsciousness we experience? We experience two main levels of unconsciousness, ordinary and deep. In ordinary unconsciousness, we are identified with our thoughts, emotions, desires, and aversions, leading to a constant undercurrent of unease, discontent, and boredom. This state is often masked by distractions like work, entertainment, or substances. Deep unconsciousness arises when the ego is threatened, leading to intense negativity, such as anger, fear, or depression. It often involves the triggering of the pain body, a collection of past emotional pain that we carry within us. How can we become more conscious in everyday life? Consciousness can be cultivated by regularly monitoring our inner state. Ask yourself throughout the day, am I at ease at this moment? Or, what's going on inside me right now? Observe your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations without judgment. Notice how you might be resisting or denying the present moment. Cultivating awareness in ordinary situations helps us to stay present when challenges arise. How do we deal with negative emotions and thoughts? First, accept the presence of negative emotions and thoughts. Recognize that they arise from unconscious patterns and do not define you. Instead of suppressing or judging them, observe them with full attention. This awareness weakens their grip and allows them to pass through you without creating further suffering. However, true acceptance goes beyond simply tolerating these feelings. It involves recognizing their futility and choosing joy, ease, and peace over suffering and conflict. This shift requires accessing the power of now. What are some common ways we deny the present moment? We deny the present moment by complaining, resisting what is and making ourselves into victims, wanting to be somewhere else, finding our current situation intolerable, dwelling on the past, reinforcing a false sense of self and accelerating the aging process, worrying about the future, creating fear by projecting ourselves into imaginary situations, waiting, reducing the present to a means to an end, leading to permanent dissatisfaction. What is the inner purpose of our life's journey? While the outer purpose of life may involve achieving goals and reaching destinations, the inner purpose is about the quality of our consciousness in each moment. It's about how we live, not what we achieve. This involves deepening our being in the timeless now and bringing presence to every step we take. By realizing our inner purpose, we free ourselves from the illusion that happiness lies in the future and find fulfillment in the present moment. How can we free ourselves from the past? The past cannot survive in the presence of now. Instead of dwelling on past events or trying to analyze them, bring your attention to the present moment. Observe your thoughts, emotions, and reactions as they arise without judgment. This practice dissolves the past by bringing it into the light of consciousness. Remember, you find yourself not by going into the past, but by coming into the present. What is the significance of the inner body? The inner body is the invisible energy field that gives life to the physical body. It is our connection to being, the unmanifested one life. By becoming aware of the inner body, we reclaim consciousness from the mind and experience a sense of rootedness, stillness, and peace. This practice slows down the aging process, strengthens the immune system, and allows us to access a deeper level of intelligence and creativity. By inhabiting the body, we become like a tree deeply rooted in the earth, unshakable in the face of external challenges. What is the unmanifested, and how does it relate to Kai? The unmanifested is the source of all creation, the stillness behind the world of form. Kai, the inner energy field of your body, acts as a bridge between the manifested world and the unmanifested. Kai is movement and energy, while the unmanifested is pure stillness. By focusing your consciousness deeply into the inner body, you trace the flow of Kai back to its source, the unmanifested. What are some portals into the unmanifested, and how do they work? The primary portal is the now, the present moment. By dissolving psychological time through intense present moment awareness, you become conscious of the unmanifested. Other portals include the inner body. Focusing deeply on the feeling of the inner body allows you to transcend the physical realm and connect with the stillness of being. Silence. Paying attention to outer silence brings about inner silence, stilling the mind and opening a portal to the unmanifested. Space. Becoming aware of the empty space around you allows you to simultaneously become aware of the space of no mind, the unmanifested within. How can I bring the unmanifested into my everyday life? As you navigate the world, don't give 100% of your attention to external matters and your mind. Keep some attention within, feeling the stillness of the inner body even during daily activities. Feel the peace that never leaves you, regardless of external circumstances. This is the state of enlightenment, a connection with the source. What is the true nature of space and time? While perceived as external realities, space and time are ultimately illusory. They contain a core of truth, representing the attributes of God, infinity and eternity. Their true nature is revealed within you. Space corresponds to the still, infinitely deep realm of no mind, while time corresponds to presence, awareness of the eternal now. What is the difference between addictive and enlightened relationships? Addictive relationships are based on ego needs and a desire to complete oneself through another. They oscillate between love and hate, clinging and attack, as the ego seeks fulfillment outside itself. Enlightened relationships arise from a state of presence and wholeness within. They are characterized by acceptance, non-judgment, and a lack of neediness. Both partners are free and support each other's spiritual growth. How does surrender relate to finding peace and enlightenment? Surrender means accepting the present moment without reservation, allowing what is to be as it is. This relinquishes resistance, ends the mind's dominance, and reconnects you with being. When you surrender, you stop creating negativity and suffering. You enter a state of grace, ease, and lightness, no longer dependent on external conditions for peace. How can I deal with negativity and transform suffering? Use negativity as a signal to become more present. When you notice negativity arising, don't judge yourself. Instead, use it as a reminder to wake up, get out of your mind, and be present. To transform suffering, give it your complete attention without labeling it mentally. Allow the pain to be there, embrace it, and witness it. As you do so, you bring the light of your consciousness into the darkness, and suffering is transmuted into peace. What is the ultimate truth about life and death? Nothing is what it seems. The world perceived through the egoic mind is a reflection of fear and negativity. When you transcend the mind, you realize your true nature as the timeless, deathless presence behind all forms. You recognize not only your own immortality, but that of every other creature. This realization is the essence of compassion, where sadness and joy merge into deep inner peace.